Hey guys, in this video I have the Retro FC, also known as the Coolbaby RS-6A. It's a portable handheld with 168 NES games built in that kind of looks like a shrunken Gameboy DMG-01. I'll quickly unbox this thing to show you what it includes. So first off, you have the manual here, and it's a really simple manual. Also included in the box is a couple of cables, the mini USB charger cable as well as a TV out cable, so you can hook it up to your television. And that's all it really comes with. And this is the actual unit itself. It has a decent sized 3.0 inch LCD screen with a resolution of 320 by 240. I have the black version, but it also comes in yellow and white. I have to say the quality of this unit is actually pretty good. I mean, the plastic, it feels a lot like the original Gameboy DMG-01. Out of all the portable knockoffs I've seen so far, this is one of the best looking. It looks like a legitimate Game Boy. However, it doesn't play Game Boy games. It's just a bunch of NES ROMs installed. And like most of these NES clones, you can't really add more games, and you can't save the progress either. I think it's much better than the BitBoy that I've reviewed before, since the Retro FC seems to be better built. It's also bigger than the BitBoy, and in comparison to the Retro Mini, it's also bigger. It uses the Nokia BL5C battery, which is common with the Retro Mini as well. So it's very easy to find these batteries on eBay and various websites. Now in terms of the button layout, the D-pad is really good. There's a start and select button, a reset button, and there is an A and B button. Now the A and B buttons are actually mislabeled because the Y button, which is labeled, is actually B, and then the B button is actually A, and the X button is Turbo B, and the A button is Turbo A. For beat 'em up games like Mighty Final Fight, Double Dragon, and shooting games like Gyrus and Galaga, the Turbo A and B buttons are really useful. On the very top, you will find the on and off button, as well as the mini USB port for charging it, as well as the AV out port. And on the bottom left hand side of the unit, you'll find the volume dial. So now I'll quickly show you the games that are included by turning the unit on. So I'll scroll through the games itself really quickly. This is going to be about 30-40 seconds, so if you want to skip past this, go ahead, but I'm just going to run through them individually so that you can see what is included with the unit. Now there's actually quite a few classics in there, like most of the Super Mario Brothers, as well as Contra, Galaga, Gyrus. There's quite a few games that are from my own personal favorites list, and I'm glad to see that they're there. The only major game that it's missing is like Tetris, and usually when these systems come with Tetris, it's like some like the Tengen version of Tetris, I think. So it's not the original, like the Nintendo version. So as you can see so far, it's got a pretty nice selection of games from the Nintendo kind of collection, as well as Donkey Kong, Excite Bike, Galaga, Galaxian, Ice Climber, Joust, Macross, Pac-Man, Popeye. So there's definitely a lot of original like Nintendo classic games in there already, making this a really good collection, especially when there's 168 of them. So now I'll quickly go through some gameplay of the unit itself. So here's Super Mario Bros. 2. The color palette's a little bit off, but it plays just like the original. And here's Super Mario Bros. 3. And of course, this is probably my favorite game of the Mario Brothers series from the NES, and I like it because it was one of the first games where you can actually pick which worlds you wanted to go to. Even after all these years, this game still holds up very well in terms of gameplay, mechanics, and a lot of the newer platform games that you will play, like Sonic or the new Super Mario Brothers series, are all based on this game because of how well it was made. Now I'm going to test out Dr. Mario, and this is probably my second favorite puzzle game next to Tetris, and I used to play this all the time. I'm actually testing out the turbo buttons right now, so Turbo A and Turbo B, and for this game it's useless, but for shooting games it works really well. And here we have Super Mario Brothers, the first one, and this one is always a classic. I think as you're watching this through my camera, you see these hatch marks that are on the screen. When I'm looking at it, I actually don't see it, so it actually looks pretty good. So unfortunately, this doesn't have a headphone jack, so that's the only negative thing I can think about the system. I would have much preferred a headphone jack instead of a TV out port. Next, I'm going to try out Mighty Final Fight, which is like a cute version of Final Fight. And this is where the turbo buttons really help. So if you hold down the X button there, it's the Turbo B, and then The A button is for Turbo A, and this works really well for beat 'em up games where you need to press the kick or punch button a lot, and you just have to hold it down, and that works really well. And this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the arcade version for the Nintendo. This is one of those beat 'em up hack and slash games that would benefit greatly from the Turbo A and the Turbo B buttons. And finally, one of my favorite games is Gyrus, and this works really well with the turbo button as well. You just have to hold down the fire button and you don't have to keep on pressing it. And this one is sort of like a shoot 'em up, but like you're looking through from a different perspective, like through a tunnel. So everything kind of comes in through the center, and then you shoot it and you go around in a circle. And I like this game quite a bit, and I've finished this many times. And this is probably the one game I play the most when I buy one of these systems and it includes it. So I'd say this is probably my #1 game on these type of portable systems because it's a really simple game to play, and it really helps you kill some time, especially when you have nothing to do. Anyways, that's it for the review of this Retro FC or Coolbaby RS-6A. I think this one is my current favorite in terms of those multiple NES games in a tiny form factor. I think it's better than the BitBoy, and I'll leave links to it in the description if you're interested in picking one up. Comment, like, share, or subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.